Next up, the DSP pitch tool. Let's go. One release has one pitch. So we don't need a new table, right? There's no child record. But we do need some more fields. So in the release table, let's start adding them. So the first one's going to be, I don't know, pitch notes. And that'll be long text. The next one's going to be the URI. You know, sometimes when we're pitching to Spotify, we need to indicate what song we're talking about by the URI. Another one might be the ID, right? This would be for Apple. For pitching to Apple, we need to be able to tell them what the ID is. Let's say another one is going to be genre. Do we have genre already in here? Pardon me if we do. No, we do not. So let's say genre. I'm going to make it a single line text field, but in theory, let's screw it. Let's do a single select and give it some options. So we'll say pop, alternative, hip hop, dance, electronic. Sure. Leave it at that. Pitch notes, URI, ID, genre. Cool. All right, let's start building. All right. So back into the interface, we want a new section, and we'll call this interface streaming. And it's going to be a record review. And it's going to reference releases. And now it's going to ask us what releases we want. And we only want the releases that are coming up. So I have to install a new field in order to do that. But it doesn't exist yet, so alas, we will just sort them by date, maybe, release date. Cool. And then let's group them by that week that we worked on. So now we see what's coming up by week. And then in here, we don't want any of these fields. This is the detail for the release. We want the new stuff. We want the pitch notes, the URI, the ID, the genre, stuff like that. We'll call this DSP pitches. Great. Okay. Now that field that I wanted to install is going to allow us to know if the release is in the past or it's in the future. And you might think that a simple formula would work to say, well, is the release date after today or is it before today? But it doesn't, because a release could come out on a Tuesday and it's a Friday, and that's not in the past. Anything from Saturday to the next Friday is all still the present. So you need a special formula for this. So I'm going to put a formula field in here. I'm going to call it is in future formula, and it's super duper complicated. I'll zoom in, take a picture. If you want it, let me know in the comments. But this is it. Create it. Now it basically tells you, is it in this week or later, or is it in the past weeks? And here you go. You got yeses and nos. So what we can do, now this is a new feature. We can filter the record picker in the record review screen. So let's see what happens. So let's filter it. Let's add tabs. Sick. I mean, this is like a brand new off the shelf feature. So let's add this tab. We'll call this future. And we'll filter by where is in the future contains, I think it's yes. Nice. And then we'll do another one. And we'll call it past. And we'll say is in the future contains past. No, I think it's no. Boom. There you go. Wait, what happened? Oh, past, future, past. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry. It's my first time using it. I didn't realize they were stacked that way. Let's take a look. So you got future and past. Cool. So it's like a drop down. Love it. Okay, so let's put some things in the detail screen here. So now you're in the detail and you've got the name. We don't need that, but we do need the URI, the ID, the genre, the pitch notes. Now I'm going to keep it simple. I know you might want like playlist targets or timeline or something like that. We could put that in, but we're not. In the interest of time, let us just use pitch notes. And for URI ID, these could easily say ISRC or whatever unique information you need for your pitching. Pitch notes. Great. Now, if you're the you're the streaming department, you come in and you say, well, what's the pitch note? And you can just say, boom, there's my note. Here's my ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the genre. I don't love the genre here. Pop. Boom. Let's tighten that up. We'll put one more field in here. Let's call this new field priority. We'll say like priority pitch. Make it a question mark. Put a checkbox. Put that in here. Priority pitch. So you can indicate if this is a priority pitch or not. Editable. Cool. All right, you got your stuff. So the release gets linked to the pitch, to call it DSP pitch table. We'll make another table. We'll call it DSP pitches. Cool. So then one thing we want to assign is obviously the pitch. So what pitch is this going to? And right now there are no pitches, but we'll build it for the capability. Link on link. Sweet. All right. So now in the DSP pitches table, what do we need? We need a date. We need recipients. That's going to be a linked record to contacts. One to many. We need a salutation. We'll make that a long text, and it's going to say like, hey everybody, this is the pitch. And it needs the releases, boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. And just for speed's sake, we will call it just the date. Or we have to do date, time, format. And we'll say date in month, day, year. All right, salutation. Okay. So now let's open up another list and let's have this be record review as well. And this will be the pitches. And we'll sort this by date. Yep. Cool. And in this case, Let's just put this all in, sure. And we'll call this pitches, which means we have to change the name of this to, we'll call this pitch editor. And then this is going to be called pitches, DSP pitches. Okay. All right, back to the releases. We have to make a field that's going to be summed up in this email somehow. Pardon me, I'm assuming that you're making these pitches over email. So we're building this thing. Of course, you can do whatever you want with this information, but let's just say we're making it over email. So we're going to call this pitch summary. Pitch summary is going to be a formula. And the formula is going to have the name, so it's the title of the song. It's going to have open parentheses, call it the format. And then we want a line break. We want to skip down to the next line. And the way you do that is you type in \n. So now we go to the next line and we're going to say we want the URI to the extent that this pitch is going to Spotify, let's say. URI. And then we want the ID to the extent it's going to Apple. Now these can be conditional based on who we're sending this to, but again, this is basic. URI, ID, and then we'll just say the pitch note itself. Let's see how that looks. And then we just want the note. So let's see what this looks like. Wait, what's wrong with our formula? We forgot a bunch of ampersands. It's all good. Cool. Okay. Now I only want this to display if the pitch notes is not empty. So you say if pitch notes, boom. Okay, so what does this look like? Freddie Davis, paper chasing single, URI ID. Maybe we should put the release date in there. So we want to say and date, time, say and, skip a line, release date, date, time, format, release date, and format it like this. 1 3-letter month and a day. And 0. Let's see what that looks like. I'm losing it today, people. Missed the parenthesis. Okay, so now it looks like Freddie Davis, paper chasing single, release date May 12th, URI. So after May 12th, I have to put one of these pappy boys. We're back in business. I love it. I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? Boom. Got the stuff. Awesome. Okay. Now go to the pitches, and we want to add, well, let's make a pitch. Call it today's date. We want to add pitches to these releases. So if the release is in this week, then it should be pitched in that week. So we could create all sorts of automations to make sure that the DSP pitch linked record always has the correct link. but we're not going to do that because we'll just do it manually for sake of the demo. All right, now here's the special sauce. You call this like, we'll call this body. This is like the body of the email. It's going to explain, maybe we won't call it body. Maybe we'll call it pitch, total pitch, or full pitch. There you go. And it's going to be a roll up from the releases table of the pitch summary. And the operator we're going to use, or the aggregation formula, is going to be array join values, and the separator is going to be 2 line breaks. So right now it doesn't look like much because it's just 1. But watch this. Let's go back to releases. Let's fill in for everybody who's in this week. What day is it today? The 18th? 12th? Cool. 12th, 18th, 17th. Cool. So everyone who's in week 20. So we'll say filter this whole thing by where week is 20. We'll just copy all this information. Boom. This is just me backfilling some data for the interest of time. Okay, and we'll just give different genres. Although genre is not something we're sending through, I don't think. But if it was, we would have it. Okay, so now every one of these has its own block, call it summary. Then we go back to the DSP pitches and we look now, ready? Boom, boom, boom. Looks pretty cool. We're missing a line break. I thought I had 2 line breaks in there. Maybe it didn't really give it to me. So let's put one of the line breaks back in here. So we'll say, we'll end this with a line break. That should give us the format that we want. So we got DSP pitches. Come on, baby. When I told you I was losing it, I meant it. I had the wrong slash. There we go. Boom. Got our things. Back into the DSP pitch builder, maybe we'll call it. We can list these out, these releases in a list view here. So I like it, the name, the release date, we don't need the week, maybe the format, maybe the genre. Let's sort by release date. Boom. Okay, so these are all the releases that are linked here. And let's actually open up a detail screen. Let's allow. And let's give the ability to change. So if like the head of the department or something is coming in here and wants to change anything, they could. So we're going to give them those pitch fields. So we'll say pitch notes, give them edit access. We can say, what do we say, genre, status, and then like priority, I think, pitch priority. Whatever it is, whatever the fields that you want, they can come in here and they can make the changes. If a junior person fills in the pitch notes, but the senior person needs to review it and make a change before it goes sent out, boom, there you go. All right. Now, what else does the pitch need? The pitch needs like a status. Maybe we'll say in progress, and then we'll say trigger, send, and then sent. And then date sent. You'll see this will come into play later. Boom. Well, I'm trying to wrap this up pretty soon. Okay. Date sent. Status. Okay. Boom. Releases. All right. Now we want like a preview of this thing. So we're going to say the salutation, and this is going to be editable. And then after the salutation, we're going to put the full pitch, and that's what it is. And we're also going to have a lookup fields to the contacts don't have emails yet, so we're going to put an email field in the contacts table. And we're going to make a bunch of contacts. I'll reuse these names just because I don't have dummy data for that at the moment. And we'll just say this is John at co.com, and this is Will at co.com, and this is Robert at co.com. Imagine it was like Michael at Spotify.com or something. Okay. And these guys are going to be our recipients. So we want to be able to add the recipients. Now the recipients should be already added and indicated every single week. They're the same, but nonetheless, for the sake of the demo, add link on link. Let's give those first four. So we got John, William, Robert, and Michael. Although I don't love the fact that they're the same names as here. So let's change this. John, Andrew, John, William, Lewis, Robert, Tatum, and Michael Wallace. So Anderton, Lewis, Tatum, Wallace. Anderton, Lewis, Tatum, Wallace. Great. Because we've linked those people, now we can have another field for their email addresses. So we go to the recipients, we add the lookup fields, their email address, and then we call this, let's just call this field 2, because this is where those emails are going to go. We can put that right above. So 2. So now if you're like, call this like pitch preview maybe, pitch preview, and you know it's going to these people, it's got a custom salutation that you're going to add, and then it's got this like big body of text. So let's publish this real quick, come in here, boom. And if you're like, okay, this is the pitch for this week, here's the stuff, status, by default is going to be in progress. Let's give this include time. You'll see why in a second. Okay, now we're not going to allow you to change the status manually. The status is going to be changed through automation. Okay, cleanup is required. We don't need the salutation. Put the date sent down there. We don't need the name here. Don't need the date here. We've just got recipients, status, and the date sent. The release is associated. Detail screen for the release, so you can come in and you can change the pitch. And then a preview that shows you what is this pitch going to look like in the email. Right now, it's basically going to be sent to these people. One more thing. What did I forget? A pitch has a subject line. And let's say that it's going to be a single line select, and that the default value is going to be label co's upcoming releases. Label codes, releases. And then we'll give you like a little spot with the date. Of course, I could make this a formula field with that, but I want to give you the flexibility. So we'll make this label codes releases May 18, 2024. Let's put that up here. And that's editable. It'll come in with the default, but that's editable. So this looks pretty good. I mean, if you're like, want to send a pitch out from your Airtable, you now know what it looks like. You're like, the subject is going to say this. It's going to be to these people. It's going to have this salutation, which I haven't written yet, but I'll write. In fact, the salutation can have a default, I guess it can't. Okay, so we got to the subject citation, and we'll say like, hey everyone, here are this week's releases. Here's some info since we last spoke. XYZ artist is performing on Kimmel Saturday night, so be sure to tune in. Right, whatever you want. Now we're gonna have a button. Almost done, people. Almost done. Let's add a button here. And the button is going to say send pitch. And the visibility, button is going to say send pitch. And the action is going to be to update a record. And it's going to update the status. It's going to make the status trigger send. And let's make that status trigger send red. And then let's make the sent like nice and green. Let's make in progress yellow. Boom. Trigger status send. And then the appearance before is going to be nice and blue, and then the appearance after is going to be green. And it's going to be red. And the label after is going to be sent, or sending, watch. Cool. So when you click this button, the status changes. And then what? Back to automations. So the status changes. Now you have an automation. Call this streaming 1.0, send DSP pitch. The trigger is when the DSP pitch has status of trigger send, which the only way to get there is by clicking the button. Then you send an email. All right, so send Gmail. We have my Gmail account hooked up already. And then what's going to happen here? The email is going to go to the to field. Come on now. The subject is going to be the subject. And then the body is going to have two parts. It's going to have the salutation. And then it's going to have, what did we call it? The pitch, full pitch. So let's test it. Hit send pitch, goes trigger send, choose record, generate preview. There we go. Hey everyone, here's your stuff. Now, I don't love the way this looks, and it's because we need to put some HTML in there. But stay with me, we're almost done. It takes 2 seconds. You know where I used for full pitch the this N? This N is going to work fine. But back in the releases table, when I made this pitch summary, we have to replace these N's with actual HTML line breaks. And that's going to get us where we need to go. It's not going to look pretty. You know what? Let's duplicate it. And we'll say pitch summary, and this is going to have like a little E next to it for the email. Because I want to keep that one intact so it displays properly in the interface, but have another one that we use. For the email, because it's the way that they handle HTML is different from both. Pitch, full pitch. What the hell just happened? Oh, pitch summary. So DSP pitches. So full pitch. We'll duplicate this. We'll call this full pitch E for email. Doing that, and it's going to be E pitch summary E. Save. See what happens. I'm losing it, people. Absolutely losing it. Full pitch E. Okay. What now, people? Come on. Do it to me. Give it to me. There we go. Hey, everyone. This is the stuff. Boom, 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 boom. And if you wanted to make things bold or highlighted or anything, it's all possible because it's all based on HTML and we can just put some things in there. But this looks pretty good and it's going to go to the right people and it's going to have the right subject and it's going to salute them in the right way. And if we wanted to, we could put their names in the salutation. It's all good. And then they just list out all the releases that were built in Airtable. So imagine building this in a spreadsheet and then sending the spreadsheet to your boss and then having your boss copy out of the spreadsheet and put it into an email and type all the people's names. No, 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 no. That is not what has to happen. Let me do a couple things here to shape this up and then we're done with the video. After this thing sends, you want to update the record in the DSP pitch table to have a new status, and the status is going to be sent. But I also want to know when I sent it, so you got to do something fancy. You got to run a script to get timestamp. If you want that script, I'll send it to you. Test it out. It basically gives you the current time. And then you update that pitch date sent field with that value. So it tells you when it was sent. And then you can make this contingent on where date sent is empty, so that you know you'll never send it twice, because it won't send, because it will have a date if you've sent it already. And then just for sake of not sending this thing to a bunch of non-existent emails, instead of putting the to value there, we'll just put like my email. So we'll go admin@relational.co. and publish. Turn that on. Put this back to in progress. Okay, you're heading to the department. You've got your recipients. You maybe want to add a couple. You add a couple recipients. Boom, boom, boom. Or you have an automation. Put them all in there at the start. You've got your releases. You look through them. Boom, that looks pretty good. Boom, that looks pretty good. Oh, by the way, got to put the URIs and the IDs in here, or whatever your information like that is going to be, the ID. Cool. And then you review your pitch and you make the thing. So let's publish. Your stuff is looking good. You look at the pitch, you're like, man, this is just super, super sick. Send. Automation is running. We'll know it's done when the date sent field gets populated, when the status changes to sent. And if I were to look at my email right now, which might as well just do, but nonetheless, the email arrived. It's looking sharp. All is well. This is just the beginning. If you had to send 30 of these emails and they had to go to specific people every week, you could program that into the system, and with this one click of a button, could send to all 30. Everything's possible once you start storing your information and your data in a structured environment like this that has API connections, that has automations, and all these things. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.